Hey, it is 12 noon on Friday, which means it's time for this week's episode of State of Real Estate. This is our weekly mastermind for our current students, our past students, as well as our future students to help you take your real estate business to the next level. And today we're talking about a topic that's essential in real estate, and that's open houses. Now, some people that might be more experienced in real estate, they might say open houses, yuck, open houses, gross, open houses, no, I'd rather spend my Saturday or my Sunday doing something else. But look, open houses can be a gold mine of clients, of leads, of deals. And we're going to talk about how it is that you turn it into that gold mine, because you do have to be very intentional about what it is that you're doing, how it is that you're structuring your open house to make sure that you're just not wasting hours on your weekends when you should be getting leads. So that's what we're talking about today, getting more leads out of your open house. I'm really excited to bring the show to you today. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching State of Real Estate.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Chrismo, and the show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We started State of Real Estate over a year ago, and we stream this every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, to help our current, past, and future students learn what they need to know to take their real estate license to the next level, to be able to make money with it, to be able to close more deals, to be a successful real estate agent, a successful professional. That's what we talk about here on State of Real Estate every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. If you're not subscribed yet, do yourself a favor and subscribe. Go to tampaschool.com/success. That's tampaschool.com/success. You'll be able to find the full recording once we've completed with today's episode, as well as all the previous recordings, all of that found at tampaschool.com/success. You drop your email in there, you're automatically going to get notifications whenever it is that we go live in the future, so you don't miss any opportunity to mastermind with us to take your business to the next level. But what we're talking about today is open houses. And if you're new to real estate, if you just got your license and you're looking to figure out now how to get some leads so you can get some deals and close some business, open houses should be something you do every single weekend. And whether you're extroverted or introverted, the open houses are a great opportunity to not only work on your sales and people skills, work on dealing with your clients, work on building a relationship and being that professional, establishing the confidence in that, but they're also great opportunity to pick up leads. And the cost of holding an open house, because there's going to be some cost associated, especially when we talk about trying to blow up your open houses, really make your open houses be the most profitable use of your time, because if it's not, then you should be doing other things that are more profitable uses of your time. But when you're first starting out, maybe you don't have as much cash to invest in advertising or buy Zillow leads or whatever it is that you might spend money to do to try to gain some business. Open houses are great because we get to invest a lot of our sweat equity into this to really kind of make sure that we're getting a good return on our investment, because we don't have much money actually going into this. So let's go over some numbers here with the open houses. Pull out the old whiteboard here. There we go. Get that lined up nice so you don't get too many reflections. So with open house, yeah, turn that one off too. Okay, yeah, there we go. Now we're looking good. So I'm big on numbers. You should know these numbers. First thing it is you want to know, on average, how often an open house will result in a closed deal. Because that's going to be important for you, because if you go into the open house thinking that you're going to walk out with signed contracts left and right on the properties you're holding open, you're going to be severely disappointed. So the open houses, they are a tool to help get the property marketed, to help get buyers in the door of the property, and sometimes they do sell as a result of an open house. But for us as agents, that's not our goal for holding the open houses. Yes, it is a little bit of a long shot to try to get the property sold for the seller, and if we're only the seller, it might not make sense for us to hold open houses. We just wait for people to call and make an appointment so they can come see it. The reason why we're holding open houses is because you will get traffic, especially if this is done correctly. You'll get traffic in the open house but those people won't necessarily want to buy that particular house, but they might want to buy another house. So let's start off with the numbers, the statistics on this. So 1 in 100. What's 1 in 100? One sale in 100 open houses of the house it is that you're holding open. So if you hold 100 open houses, according to the National Association of Realtors, this is a nationwide statistic, and there's probably a lot of crappy open houses out there, which are probably skewing these numbers a little bit for us that go the extra mile with this type of stuff. But that's the average. That's the expectation of the house you're holding open. This doesn't say about the clients you're picking up and the houses it is that they buy, because almost every client it is that you pick up, every buyer that's qualified to purchase a home probably will buy a home. The question is, are they going to buy the home with you, or are they going to buy the home with somebody else who actually rises to the occasion to be their professional? But that's what you got to go into there with the expectations. And you may not want to if you do tell your seller about this, you definitely want to kind of be careful about the way it is that you word this, because you don't want to talk them out of doing the open house, because you never know if they're going to be the ones that hit the lottery. And I mean, you've actually got a lot better odds here than hitting the lottery with this, of their house actually being one out of those 100s that are actually being sold. And if you're holding that same house open a couple weeks, a couple different times, you're multiplying the chances that that property is going to get sold. So at the very least, you have that intrinsic value of getting that house sold. And if you're the listing agent on this property, if we just do a couple numbers on this here to kind of make some sense out of this, let's say it's a $300,000 property. $300,000 property, and let's say the total commission it is that you're charging, this depends on what it is that you're charging, what you've negotiated with your client, but let's say the commission it is that you're charging the client for the total is 6%, but what typically happens is you're splitting that commission with whatever brokerage brings the buyer, whichever brokerage comes with the buyer and says, okay, this is the buyer I have that wants to buy this house. And if that's the case, then you split that money. But now when you get both the buyer and the seller, you're earning double commission. So let's say on $300,000, we multiply this now by 6%, you're going to end up with $18,000 in commission. So that 1 in 100 has the possibility on a $300,000 house of getting you an $18,000 commission. And who knows, maybe your property that you're holding open is a $500,000 house or a $400,000 house. Now, this does depend on the market, but you're probably not going to get the best results if the house it is that you're holding open is $100,000. Probably because it's going to take about the same amount of work for that $100,000 house as the $500,000 house. So you should be pushing yourself to try to up this dollar amount to the highest point it is that you're comfortable that would be a typical sale in your market. Now, maybe your market, it's the $100,000, $150,000 house. Maybe that's the norm. It depends. In Tampa, not quite the case. This is maybe closer to the norm. It's actually creeping up higher and higher with this. This is about the max loan you can get right now with an FHA loan, but it's the values are tending to creep up a little bit more. I'll have to get you guys the exact statistic on what that is right now in the Tampa Bay area. But $300,000 is a good estimate of what a house might sell for. So at that 6% commission, $18,000. Now, if we had another broker, if we weren't holding the open houses and we weren't doing anything to try to market and get the property sold, we would only get half of that. So we would end up getting just $9,000 and another $9,000, the other half of this, would go to the other brokerage. So that doubling, that extra $9,000 gives you a lot of money. That's your incentive for holding these open houses to try to get that house sold. But now, again, we don't want to focus on just selling that particular house. We want to capitalize on every buyer that comes into the property. Because when they're coming into this house that you're holding open, they might think they want to buy that house, and maybe they find out they don't want to buy that house, but I'll tell you one thing for certain, they want to buy a house. Maybe not the house it is that you're holding open, but they want to buy a house. And what do you have access to? Being a real estate professional, being a broker, being a sales associate. The word broker, if we define that word broker, it literally means to bring together buyers and sellers. We're not the seller of the house it is that we're holding open. Yeah, it's nice if they buy that because we're also the listing agent on this property as well, so we get a nice payday. But somebody's eventually going to buy that. And, you know, as much as real estate is about sales, it's not so much of selling somebody something it is that they don't want. It's selling them something it is that they do want, finding them the property that they want, and now selling them on that one it is they want, which is a pretty easy sale when they already want it. So you have a large inventory of all the properties that are available in your market, and you, with your MLS, with your realtor access, have access to all of these properties. So you don't want to come across, when you're dealing with these people coming into the open house, that make them think that you're the seller of the property, because when that happens, now they're afraid to tell you what they don't like about the house. They're afraid to talk to you. They don't want you to try to sell them that house because they just don't want to deal with somebody being pushy, saying, "Oh, buy this house, buy this house." That's the mindset it is that you have to overcome. A lot of people aren't familiar with what we do in our profession as realtors. People think, okay, this is our house, we're selling this house. No, it's the seller's house. We're just here to show it to you. If you're interested, we can help you purchase it. But if you're not, let's take a look at some other properties that are interested. See how easy and fun this process can be when you make it that way. So the point being, you want to capitalize on the buyers that are actually coming into this property. They're probably not going to buy this house. 1 in 100 chance, a 1% chance that you're going to sell the house it is that you're holding open. But you get 10 buyers, 10 groups of buyers walking in that day looking at that open house. Maybe none of them buy that one open house. You're 10% there to finding that one that does. So when you're holding an open house, getting lucky that one day. But when you've got 10 buyers, if they're looking for a $300,000 house, what's 10 times 9,000? Well, we take 10 times 9,000, we end up with $90,000. So you holding that open house, getting 10 buyers that come in here, 10 qualified buyers that are looking to buy a property, the potential of those 10 people coming in looking to buy that $300,000 property, and this is just half the commission because you'd probably just be the selling agent, the buyer's agent on this case, which would make it $90,000 of potential that you have walking into the door of your open house. If you're holding an open house on a $300,000 house, every person it is that you should see walking in there, you've got to tell yourself, hey, that's a $9,000 client right there, because that's how much money it is that you'll make if they buy a house that's about the same price of the house it is that you're holding open. And hey, if this is a $600,000 house, that's an $18,000 client that's walking in the door. And so often I see open houses that are done and the realtor just goes, "Oh, did you like it? No? Okay, have a nice day." And that's it. You're kissing that money goodbye if you're not taking advantage of this. And the way to do this is to establish a relationship with them. So that's what this is very much about, is establishing a relationship with these clients that are walking in the door so that you have the chance to earn that $9,000 commission. Because that's what you're doing with this. That's what you do in the service industry, is you earn the money it is that you take in. You're not making money with this because you're not printing it or anything like that. You're earning it based on the service it is that you provide. So you've got to earn their trust before you could earn the commission on their transaction. And we're going to talk more about the open house. I want to talk about really how it is that we drive the number up. Because you might say, 10 people in an open house. How do I get 10 people at an open house? We're going to talk about that and talk about how to get more than 10 people at the open house, and then how to handle those more people that come into the open house, and how to follow up with the people, and how to ensure these people. We're going to be talking about all this whole process. I just wanted to start off with making sure you're aware of the mindset it is that you need to have. You're not there to sell that house. If you get that house sold, fantastic. That's a bonus. You're there to capitalize on the buyers that are walking in as well as the sellers. Take a quick second for that. These people that are nosy neighbors coming in there. So somebody comment on our YouTube. I can't even remember what it was. It was something ridiculous. Oh, they're coming in there to play this game of they're trying to see how many sandwiches they can make. It's the sandwich eating challenge or something crazy like that, because that's how it feels when you get these nosy neighbors coming in here, that they're just there to waste your time. They're nosy neighbors because they're maybe thinking about selling their house and they want to see the competition. They might not sell for a couple years, but you maintain a relationship with them. You prove that you're worth earning this $18,000 commission. And then when they're ready to sell, when that day does come, they remember who you are. They're ready to use you. They're calling you up and say, "John, today's the day. Come on down. Let's get the property listed. I'm ready to sell." So even with these nosy neighbors that are coming in, those are seller leads. and also buyer leads at the same time, because they probably just don't want to sell their house and become homeless. They're probably going to sell their house, and if they're staying in the same area, great. If they're moving out of the area, great. Referral fee. Not as great, but it really kind of is, because now you're getting a quarter of the commission or 20% of the commission or whatever you negotiate with this agent for a referral fee, and you're really not doing any of the work and still getting paid based on them buying the house. But especially if they're staying in the area, yeah, you've got to do a little work helping them find the property, but now there's another potential deal for you. Open houses can be a gold mine if they're done correctly. So we're going to talk more about the open houses. We're going to talk about how to effectively advertise the open house, how to effectively run the open house, how to build these relationships with your clients, all that and more on this week's episode of State of Real Estate. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Have you seen what's going on in Tampa?
If you're looking to get in on the real estate action that's going on in Tampa right now, we're who you need to talk to. We can help you get your real estate license, start your real estate career. We're here to assist you for the life of your real estate career. Give us a call. Phone number is 813-928-0106, or check us out online at tampaschool.com.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Christman. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you to mastermind, to grow your real estate business, whether this is you launching your real estate career, or maybe you're just trying to find out more about open houses. Maybe you've been doing open houses wrong and you're trying to find out how to do open houses right. And there's no 100% right way to do this or correct way to do this. What makes it a good way to do it is that you're getting deals out of it, that you're getting clients that are resulting in deals out of your open house. If you're able to do that, then you're doing it correctly. But we're going to talk about a recommended strategy to really kind of bolster your sales using the strategy of open houses. And this is great because we will talk about some ways that you spend a little bit of money for some advertising stuff and things like that, but a very minimal expense for the amount of leads it is that you could get off of this. I mean, if we're talking about 10 people coming in here, you go to advertise on Zillow to buy like 10 leads, depending on how expensive the zip code is. I mean, you might be paying $2,000 for 10 leads on one of these sites, Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, any of these ones here where you're paying to advertise. So for those 10 leads, I mean, say you've got $2,000 to invest. I mean, that'll go a long way in open houses, especially with open house advertising. So we'll talk about really how to maximize the exposure of this property to ensure that you've got lots of people coming into the open house, more than 10 people, because our goal is to get 10 qualified buyer leads out of the property, and or seller leads as well. Those are good too. But not everyone coming in there will be qualified. So, I mean, unfortunately, with the open houses, and again, you just have to know this so you're not getting your hopes crushed when you're holding an open house, because that'll get you discouraged about them and make you not want to do them, when really, again, they can be a gold mine. So you'll have some people that will walk into the open house. Maybe they're just starting their home search process, or maybe, they're just dreamers. Maybe they have no way they can afford. Maybe the house you're holding open is $1 million house, and these people have no shot at affording $1 million house in their current situation. but they want to see this house, they might want to buy a house down the road. So even then, they're maybe not a qualified buyer, but they're still a buyer that you'd probably want to keep in your back pocket and maintain that relationship with them. And just because they can't afford the $1 million house doesn't mean that, let's say, their friends or family members can't afford a house that's maybe within that price range or whatever that may be. So the relationships are so crucial, and that's your goal ultimately here, is to establish relationships, build relationships with the people it is coming into the open house. But I want to talk about some strategies for marketing the open house to make sure that you don't end up getting 1 or 2 people coming into your open house. Because if you're just getting 1 or 2 people coming into your open house, I mean, what's the point even of holding the open house? If you're getting 1 or 2 people, hey, I say that, but one of those 2 people might end up getting you a $9,000 deal. So even if you do have 1 person coming in there, again, you're relying extremely on luck here. But that 1 person might end up wanting to actually buy that house or buy a house if you are smart enough to get their details and pursue them as a lead of purchasing other properties. But, that might be a $10,000 client there. So even that 1 makes this process so worth it. But again, we don't want to just rely on 1. If we just rely on the 1 client coming in here, we're going to be really disappointed at the end of our open house when we just had 1 client that came in there and it turns out they were that dreamer that wasn't qualified, that has no intention of buying. I mean, who knows? That might still stem into something. But look, we need money now. We need to get paid now, and we want to make sure that we're monetizing our open house as much as possible. And it all starts with proper planning of your open house. And I'm not talking about planning the music it is you're going to play, or planning what food it is you're going to have there, or planning anything like that. I'm talking about planning for traffic, planning to get traffic, and how do we maximize the traffic. So a lot of times people, they'll have their open house, and they put a little sign out that says open house. So they put their sign out that says open house. It's maybe one of these little directional arrow guy things. And that's what they do. And then they sit there, door closed, and wonder why no one shows up at the open house. Now, the problem here, because these open house signs are great, but one of them on their own, just like you don't want to rely on 1 client coming into the property, you don't want to rely on just 1 open house sign. I mean, you might have seen those cartoons where there's like the arrows like pointing. There's like all these arrows here, and it looks like, ridiculous. But that's the goal here. You want it to not be any question of which house is the open house. You want people to drive by and say, wow, do you see that open house? And the other person says, how could I miss it? That's your goal, to maximize exposure. So not just one of these signs. And if this street that this house is on isn't a busy street, if this street this house is on isn't a busy street, if this is a gated community, having that 1 sign in front of the house isn't going to do you much good, because you're really just advertising to your neighbors now of this property that is being held open. So you've got to go all the way out to the streets that lead out to the main road and start there. And you've probably seen this before if you're paying attention. And if you've got some good realtors in your area, you don't even have to pay attention to see these open house signs, but you'll see it coming all the way out from the main road. Oh, this way, open house, open house, open house, open house, open house, open house. Just one over here too in case they drive by it. Another one over here. Maybe you put some little balloons up. Maybe you put up like the little flags that say open house. All kinds of stuff like this that you do to really make this property stand out. Again, the key thing is making sure that you've got these signs leading in all the way off of this busy road. So that way the people that are in the area, because that's a huge thing, is just these people that are in the area, especially if there's some sort of busy road, if it's a Saturday, if it's a Sunday, people might see that and say, oh, look, there's an open house here. But now what happens with this? This is good. This is the bare minimum. This is where you want to start off, because we're going to talk about some other ways to market this as well. But the people that are just driving around, they might see an open house, and maybe they are driving to find houses, driving to look around, driving around the neighborhood because they're trying to get the look and feel of the neighborhood, understand as to whether or not they want to move into this neighborhood. Excuse me. But chances are, if you're only relying on this here, relying on these directional signs and marketing physically in this particular area, and you might look at this and say, oh my God, John, I've got to have like 10 signs. Yeah, you do. These signs cost like $10, maybe $15 each if like you're getting them customized or something. Who knows? You might even find them cheaper than that. So you might spend $150 on these signs or something along that, maybe $300 in signs. But the beauty is here, you're not just going to leave these signs and forget about them. You're going to reuse these signs when you hold more open houses because, again, you're supposed to be holding these nonstop until you've got so much business that you don't have time to hold open houses. So you're going to reuse these signs. So, yes, you've got to make that investment, but, I mean, these things, you take good care of them, they'll last you years. And even if they don't last you years, they last you more than one open house and they're paying for themselves. They last you one open house. You get one closing out of this open house. That $9,000 or whatever the commission may be is more than going to pay for any of these advertising expenses it is that you have. But yeah, you got to have these signs. And a lot of times when I see agents holding an open house, I mean, the signs, especially when they're tiny little signs, I mean, you might think that I'm just drawing this comical here in respect to the size of the actual house. But no, you should have something big like this that stands out, not these little chintzy signs that are this big. Because what happens when you're 100 feet away from the sign, you have no idea what the sign is. You'll see a little bit of a red blur that's kind of maybe has got some balloons on it or something, but it's not noticeable. You might want to invest in some of like the bigger kind of, like A-frame sign types of things that you put out. I'm not any sort of artist, but you kind of get the idea. Those signs that you've seen, really any sort of sign that's bigger, that stands out. Pay attention to your signing laws and all kinds of things like that. You could be get some sort of citation if the sign police are out on the weekend, which they're usually not between me and you. They usually work Monday through Friday, but they might be out there on a weekend, especially if you're leaving these signs out overnight. You're likely maybe to get in trouble for violating some sort of city or county ordinance. Check with your local rules, regulations, as well as your broker to make sure you're not doing anything that's going to get you in trouble or result in some sort of fine. But hey, look, this isn't me telling you this, but that citation you've got to pay, that might just be a little bit of an advertising expense. Just throw it under that expense column and, call it a day, because the leads that you're getting off of that probably make that citation worth it. Just make sure they're not going to throw you in jail. If that's the case, be careful about the signs you put out. Anyways, so we're talking about the signage. But again, we're relying on just the people in the area. So what we're likely to happen is people might say, oh, look, an open house, let's go check it out. And maybe they're talking to their husband or their wife, and the other one goes, I guess we'll go check it out. I don't really want to buy a house, but sure, we've got nothing better to do. Again, we want to build relationships because eventually they will want to buy or sell a house, or they might have friends or family that want to buy or sell a house. But we're trying to find that low-hanging fruit. And if this is all we're doing, it's still not enough. This might seem like a lot of putting up these flags and signs and balloons and all kinds of stuff like that, but it's not enough. We live in a digital age. And in this digital age, there's so much power for advertising. Now, this is going to involve some more expenses. So, again, these things, they're not required to hold an open house. Again, even if you only got one person coming into your open house, that is a chance that you might get a $10,000 deal or even just a $5,000 deal if it's a lower price house. That's still probably going to be worth your time and effort to hold this open house. I think it would be for that. But we don't want to rely on just one, because there's a chance that we might blow it with that client, and we don't want to rely on just one client. They might already have a realtor. They might end up moving somewhere else and we lose contact with them, or who knows what happens. There's so many things that could cause things to go awry. That's why we have to have a full pipeline. And the more exposure we get towards this open house, the more people we'll have coming in the open house, the more energized we'll be about sharing this house with people and sharing our professionalism and expertise with them, and the open houses will go better. So the more it is you can market the property, the more it is you're multiplying your chances of maybe even getting this property sold. And when you're doing all this stuff, you're going to look like a rock star to your seller. The seller's not going to question you at all when they see how much it is that you're doing to try to get their house sold. So they see what you're doing and they're like, oh, wow, this guy knows what he's doing. This girl knows what she's doing. They're really marketing geniuses is what it looks like. Even if you don't have that many people showing up there, they see the effort it is that you're putting in, and they see that you're worth the commission it is that you're charging. But again, we're in a digital age. There's so many ways to easily market. And so something I would recommend that you would do, at the very least, some sort of picture of the property. And, maybe not with all these open house signs in there, but maybe with the open house signs in there so they know it's an open house. You want to be careful because when you're advertising, especially on a platform like Facebook, text in the pictures will cause the picture not to be compliant with the advertising policies, which they'll still advertise and charge you some money for that, but it's not going to get a very large reach. It's going to be expensive to run those ads, and those ads typically don't do well. So text in photos is something you want to avoid. So if you do have a sign, make sure it's not like something you photoshopped in there for a sign. You can just stick a little open house sign out there, stick that picture in there. Or better yet, just like we're doing here, picture of advertising. It says massive shakeup. Cable companies are freaking out because they can't figure out how to retain subscribers because there's so much video and content that's online. Video is huge. And you don't have to have a professionally produced video. It could literally be, you've got yourself an iPhone, and any of the iPhones probably from the last 5 years are going to look phenomenal, especially the newer ones. The cameras that are in like the iPhone 10, and that's going to date this video, but the iPhone 10 cameras, 5 years ago, movies were made with this, and the cameras cost $50,000 to kind of emulate the picture it is that this thing can do. So, it's crazy what you have in your pocket, these tools, and even if it's not, pretty much any smartphone is going to take a halfway decent video. And look, all you got to do is just go on there, pull up the good old video, say, hey, before you scroll any further, let me tell you about this house here. It's going to be open this weekend. Just something like that. Just tell them about where this property is. Give them this, I can't wait to show you guys the inside of this property. I can't give you a peek quite yet, but come this Saturday at 12 noon, and we'll have the house open for you. Click on the link below to register an RSVP now for your personal showing at this open house. So what we're doing here, we make this video. And if you make this video just to share on social media, just to put on your Facebook, on your Twitter, on your Instagram, on whatever social media platforms it is that you use, which you should be using all of them, trying to soak up as much business as you can from that, the free post on there, you're not going to get rich quick with a free post. You're not going to get a commission quick. You're not getting out to the most amount of people quickly by just sharing something on social media. Now, if you've got a lot of friends that are engaged with your content, you might get a pretty decent turnout from that alone. But look, if you really want to get massive exposure from this, you've got to pay. You've got to pay to play with Facebook. It's the way their algorithm works. It's the same thing with Twitter and Instagram and all these platforms for social media. If you're making some sort of marketing post, that's not going to perform as well as a tweet from some celebrity or a post about somebody's birthday or anything like that. Those things perform better because these networks are about people. So when you want to pay to be on these platforms, or when you want to cash in on this capability, they penalize you for trying to market to them, and they don't show your post out to as many people unless you pay them. You pay them, they'll show it to even more people than you could ever reach organically. So with the advertising, in order to make this the most effective, so we shoot our little video, and if you're looking for the best return on your investment, do video. Pictures will work. Do both. Do one post with a picture, one with a video, and promote both of them. See which one works better. Maybe you're not that good in front of the camera and the picture works better, but try to do both because you'd be surprised by what happens with a halfway decent video and how much exposure you could get. And don't worry, I'm going to talk about that register link as well because that's a next level tip to make sure that these people show up and capture the information for these likely to buy purchasers. So with Facebook, or pretty much any sort of online marketing platform, Facebook is really strong in the advertising sense because what you could do, so you've got the streets here. We'll say this is kind of an urban area. We've got these streets, and let's say that this property, the open house, is here. You could put in that address and target a radius of all the people that own property around this address. And when you're reaching the people within the radius of this address, what you're doing, not only are you maximizing the chances that you're going to have more people showing up at your open house, but you're also marketing to all the people in this area that you can help them sell their home. No, you don't have to mention that in the video. You don't have to mention that you'll sell their home. When you do this effectively and you look like the professional and you look like you know what you're doing and you look like you're dominating this area, they're going to call you. They're going to call you and say, hey, I saw that you're holding an open house. We're actually thinking about selling our house. Would you be willing to sell our house? You betcha I'd be willing to sell your house. So when you're advertising across this area like this, you're not just tapping into potential buyers, but potential sellers as well. There's also, in the phrasing, I might not have this exactly here, but there's something, I believe it's called likely to move. So likely to move is an attribute that you could select in, I know this exists in Facebook, and some of the other platforms might have, really nobody has better data than Facebook right now. They're kind of under fire for all the data it is that they have on their users, but hey, we should cash in on this while we can. But they have this attribute of likely to move, and this isn't anything new. They've had this for a while. You could select that, and it's going to show these ads to the people in this area that you've selected that are likely to move. This is a no-brainer in real estate because this is telling us, hey, these are the people that are thinking of selling, thinking of buying, and we're trying to target and hone in just on them. Now, you could choose to use this or you could choose not to, because there's a still, especially if this is your farm area and you're trying to constantly market to this area, you might not want to do the likely to move. You could also do interested in this area. So interested in that particular radius, maybe people that don't live there but are interested in moving in there. There's so much power with the Facebook advertising. We could do a whole hour just on the technical stuff of Facebook, but it's really powerful for what that reach, how it could get your post in the eyes of the right people. But then you don't want to just have this post. Because chances are, and if you're marketing this ahead of time, you want to market this at least 1 week ahead of time, ideally 2 weeks ahead of time. So it gives you enough time to reach the most amount of people. Because you're not going to reach all these people overnight. They might not even go on Facebook. But over the course of 2 weeks, they'll probably be on there a couple times. They might see your ad a couple times. But chances are they still might forget about your advertising, and then all for nothing if they forget about it. That's why we have the registration link. And I want to talk about that and some more advanced strategies to maximize the leads it is you get out of your open houses. But first, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Stick with us. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching State of Real Estate.
Have you seen what's going on in Tampa?
If you're looking to get in on the real estate action that's going on in Tampa right now, we're who you need to talk to. We can help you get your real estate license, start your real estate career. We're here to assist you for the life of your real estate career. Give us a call. Phone number is 813-928-0106, or check us out online at tampaschool.com.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to State of Real Estate. I'm John Chrismo. We do the show every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time. We do this to take your business to the next level. Why do we do it? Because we want to be the leader in real estate education. And, you know, you might be watching this video right now and you maybe have never heard of Tampa School of Real Estate. Now you have. So it's a little bit of a cost that we have to kind of get out there. And that's something you got to keep in mind when you're advertising, especially on social media platforms. You've got to make your information something it is that the people that you're advertising to would be interested in. So keep that in mind when you're making these videos, especially when you're kind of defining your audience and whatnot. But one of the things it is that we want to ensure when we're doing these open house videos or these open house pictures are, again, trial and error. Find out what works. Make multiple posts and experiment. Do a picture, a video, another video. Maybe try to say different things. Do the video a little bit differently. I mean, you can get really creative with this, and you test these out. You load them all into the ad manager, and you find out which one performs the best. And the one that performs the best, you run with that for the future. Maybe try out some other new things, but you go with constantly what works the best, and you tweak your advertising until you've got a money-making machine and you've got a predictable system to make sure you get leads, to clients show up at your open house so you can convert them into a lead. Now, we talked about this post that you're doing on, let's say, Facebook or whatever social media platform it is that you're using, Twitter, Instagram. When you're advertising this stuff, you could always have a link in there, whether it's a video, a picture, whatever that may be. Even on Instagram, where you normally can't have links in post, if it's an advertisement, you could have a link in the post. So you pay them, they'll let you put a link in your post. So we want to put our little advertisement out, and let's just take Facebook, for instance. So we've got our Facebook ad. And, we've got our video here. Of the open house, and we're like kind of standing there talking to him about it, and then we've got a little bit of text. We'll say, let's say Saturday, month and day, and then also time. Reserve now, and you want to test out, again, what works, even with something like this. Maybe you put the reserve now at the beginning. Maybe you don't mention anything about the date and time and just put reserve now. I mean, again, you could get creative with the way you test this out and find out what works best. It's going to depend on your market. It's going to depend on who you're marketing to. It's going to depend on what it is that you're saying and doing and your skills that you have in the video or in the picture or whatever information that's being conveyed. Test and find out what works. But you want to have the link in there. And it's probably going to be an uglier looking little link with this. It depends on how you're running this through. But you'll have some sort of link there, and what that link will do is it'll take them to a page. And yes, you've got to have some sort of page for this, but if you do, you want something easy to use. Something easy to use that you're not going to have to be a web developer, and look, this doesn't have to be perfect. The key attribute, the thing it is that you really need to have on here, number one thing, if you can get this by itself, that's fine. So they click that link, they go to this page, you want some sort of sign-up form. RSVP now. Maybe you try that out. You try RSVP. You call it reserve now. You call reserve private showing now. Get advanced private showing now. Maybe you're collecting leads off of this advertisement before, and they want to see the property before even the open house. Now they're one less person to worry about at the open house, and going into this open house, the advertisement you did from it is already generating you business. So maybe you're doing private showings ahead of time. Who knows? Again, get creative. Find out what works. That's what's great about this. But let's just say they're RSVPing for the house. Now, what you want to put in here, and you want to be careful. And if you've ever gone to a website and they're asking you to fill out this and 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 like 10,000 different fields, you're like, oh my God, this is never ending. I mean, if you've ever tried to do one of those little surveys for like Target or any of these places where you go shop and they ask you to fill out a survey and you see it's like a 45-minute survey, you're like, yeah, no, I've got better things to do in my 45 minutes. You don't want that. You've got to keep this simple. And Facebook actually has got a built-in tool for collecting leads, so you could do that as well and just use this. You don't even need to have any sort of web builder or anything like that. So try to keep this as simple and minimalistic as possible, because the only purpose of this here is to generate leads. It doesn't matter how pretty it looks to generate leads. There's things it is you could test out, but don't overthink this. The key thing you want to keep in mind is less is more. Less information is better, and the benefit of using one of these Facebook pre-filled leads things is it takes their Facebook info, inserts it right into the lead. And so you might put first name, last name, email, and phone number. And then a nice little submit button. But you might say, well, John, don't I have to put in the times there if they're requesting a time? Don't I have to put in this if I'm doing this? Don't I have to ask them this? Don't I have to ask them that? Shouldn't I ask them if they're pre-qualified? No. The goal here is to get their contact info. And now what do we do with that contact info? We get the lead and say, oh, we've got to call this person. They just expressed interest. They just wanted to call this. And depending on what it is that they filled out, and if they filled out an RSVP form, you call them up and you say, hey, Mr. Smith, I saw that you just RSVP'd for the open house this weekend. I'm excited to meet you, excited for you to check it out. And matter of fact, I've had so much interest in this. I don't know how personalized I could be with you on the open house day, but I can get you a private showing. I've got time this Wednesday at 6 o'clock if that works for you. No, that doesn't work. Well, what would a time that works for you? I could see if maybe I could squeeze it in my schedule. Now, what do we've got? We've got an appointment to see that house. And you've got to keep in mind, they might not want to buy that particular house, but they want to buy a house. So maybe you line up a couple other showings. And once you've got this confirmed, it's like, okay, and I think there's actually a couple other properties in here that are similar to this I would like to show you as well. So we could try to see how much time we have and maybe take a look at some of these other properties if you don't love that first one. And now what we're doing is we're showing them that we could work with all these properties. We're not associated with just one property. Now, you might say, well, what do I need to do even the open house for? Why don't I just set up this RSVP form? Well, if you don't have the product, people won't want your service. You've got to blend the product and the service, the house, the real estate. That's the product. That's what people get excited about. That's what people are willing to fill out a form for. They're not going to be willing to fill out a form for your service and say, hey, I'm the best realtor out there. Use me if you want to buy a house. Fill out my form below. If that's all it is, you're going to get significantly less results because it's the product. It's the real estate that people get excited about. As great, you could be the world's greatest realtor. They're still not going to be excited to work with you. They're excited to buy the house or sell their house. They're not excited to work with you, unfortunately. But that's okay. And maybe they're a little excited to work with you, but they're more excited about the property. That's what we've got to leverage. We've got to leverage this property is that we're holding open. And even if they say no, it's like, oh, well, that's all right. You know, what time do you think you're going to come by the open house? So I can make sure that I've got some time for you there. So even if they say no, we're setting them up for the open house and making sure. And what we're doing here is we're establishing the relationship. And we've got their email. You say, hey, look, I'm going to put you on a notification of other properties that are similar in the area. So we've got so many ways now to establish and build this relationship, all stemming from this open house and a little bit of extra know-how with some of these technical capabilities. But again, don't overthink this little lead form collection thing. This again, Facebook's already got something like this built in that you could use to collect leads for things that are coming in. And look, if you're looking for something a little bit more customized, there's tons of they call them, like funnels and things like that. There's website builders you could use. Find something simple that'll work with this. ClickFunnels is a good one to check out. I've seen, I don't use that one personally, so who knows, maybe it doesn't, it looks good. I don't know how well it actually works, but I've seen a lot of usage of that particular site, so I think it's a little expensive, so I don't know. Find out what's available out there, but if you could make use of just the one built into Facebook, or if you're advertising with Google pay-per-click, that's where you might have to invest in, one of these little mini website builders, because look, you're not needing to have a whole website here. You've got a form. Maybe you put that video up here at the top of the form again, so that way they could rewatch that video if they want. Or maybe you've got, there's so many ways it is that you can use digital marketing to make sure you're getting a lead here. And you'll find out that you'll be getting leads for maybe $5, maybe $10, as opposed to if you're going to pay Zillow for these leads, you might be paying $100, $200, $300, $400, $500 per lead versus $5, $10 if you could do the advertising yourself. And this is so much more powerful for your brand as well, and helps you establish much better relationships with something like this. So this is an absolute must. And doing this ahead of time of your open house will ensure that we're getting traffic, because even if they don't fill out this form, and this form, the number of submissions, it tells you how much interest you have in the house, how many people are probably likely to show up at the open house. So you'll kind of gauge this ahead of time and know how many people you should expect there. Find out if you need to call in some reinforcement, and maybe call in a couple other realtors in your office and say, hey, look, I'm planning on having like 100 people come to this open house. It looks like I think I'm going to need some reinforcements here. If you guys want to come and any one leads that you get in here, just pay me a 25% referral fee and you could collect on these leads as well. So, I mean, there's so many ways it is that you can make money with this. Again, open houses can be a gold mine. But I do want to also talk about, having that structure there, because if we're doing this effectively, we're going to get a lot of traffic at our open house. So I want to talk about how it is that we go about, doing that referral fee agreement with other agents. Getting mortgage lenders there to have coverage, because when we've got these people coming in, we might want to just go run out with them right at this point and go show them houses if they're that low-hanging fruit. So we're going to talk about that, how to maximize now the people coming in there and converting them to a lead so they're not walking out when you don't have any information for them. So stick with us. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching State of Real Estate.
Have you seen what's going on in Tampa?
If you're looking to get in on the real estate action that's going on in Tampa right now, we're who you need to talk to. We can help you get your real estate license, start your real estate career. We're here to assist you for the life of your real estate career. Give us a call. Phone number is 813-928-0106, or check us out online at tampaschool.com.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to the final segment of this week's episode of State of Real Estate, where we've been talking about maximizing open houses. And really, we've spent the majority of this episode talking about what it is that you're doing to plan for having enough traffic at your open house, being able to monetize the open house by not just relying on trying to get that open house sold. So to really maximize this, to maximize your chances of getting the open house sold, to maximize your chances of getting the most leads out of the property for buyers as well as sellers, we've got to make sure we're getting enough traffic in the property. But what you'll find out is that you're only one person. And if you've got two people there looking at the house, it's harder for you to develop that personal relationship with each of them. Or maybe it's one husband and wife and then one guy that wants to buy a house, and let's say there's another girl in there that's also looking to buy the house. And we've got this whole kind of collection of people that are in there simultaneously. Unfortunately, now you could maybe try to group them together and say, and if it's only three people or three different groups like that, well, come on, I'll give you guys the grand tour here. And look, I just wanted to preface this with, hey, look, I'm not the seller of the property, so look, give me the feedback of the things it is that you don't like about the property, because what that does is this makes this divergence from you and the seller. It helps them view you as somebody that's there to help them, not somebody that's there to sell them the property, that's what you're there to do. If they want to buy that property, that's fantastic. That's great for us. But if they want to buy a different property, that's fantastic and that's great for us if they know that we can help them buy that other property. So it's not a matter of whether or not they're going to buy that house. It's a matter of which house it is that they're going to buy. And maybe how long it's going to take them. You'll have some people that are ready to buy right now and other people that are just, starting to look at properties maybe 6 months down the road. But that's the best time to get in, is to get in early, so you really have a chance to establish a great relationship when they are ready to buy, and that makes the transaction go so much smoother. But look, when you start getting And when you've got even 3 people in there simultaneously, 3 groups of buyers in there simultaneously, that's a lot to try to make sure that you're trying to capitalize on every one of these leads. So this is where it'd be advantageous for you to have other realtors in there, at the very least, maybe some sort of mortgage lender, a mortgage loan originator. Having a mortgage loan originator come in, trick is finding a mortgage loan originator usually that's motivated enough to want to go out of their way and spend some time on a Saturday at an open house. But trust me, they are out there. They're not all of them. Not all of them are that much of a go-getter. Some of them are a little bit more complacent. But you'll find these go-getters that will be at an open house with you. Especially if you tell them, hey, I'm planning on, I've done these before, and based on the response I'm getting online off of this, there's probably going to be about 50, 60 people there. They'll start seeing the dollar signs in their eyes because, like, well, 50, 60 buyers at this property, yeah, I'll be there. Even if it's like 20 buyers, that's still, even if it's 10. Doesn't sound like a lot, but that's still a lot. And having that mortgage loan originator there, they're complementary to your service because they're not taking away from your sales side of this at all, and they're there to provide that product it is that they also need probably to purchase this property as well, because they probably aren't going to be just paying cash for the property. But either way, that mortgage loan originator that you have there will help ensure that you're building that positive relationship with your clients. So that's a good place to start right there. I mean, there's all kinds of people that are involved in the real estate industry that you could go along and say, hey, look, I'm holding this open house this weekend. And you want it almost to be like an exhibition. So they could talk to a mortgage loan originator there, maybe a home inspector is there, maybe a termite inspector is there, all these different people that want to maybe give out this contact information. So it's almost like some sort of convention. I mean, that's the way, if you've got enough people that are in there, that way they're able to talk to these other people while you're busy with the other ones, and you still have a chance to get around and start making the rounds and starting getting to know everyone that's there. Now look, you don't need to worry about any of this if you're only planning on getting 4 or 5 people to show up at your entire open house. But if you're marketing this effectively, you'll get a large turnout for your open house and probably more people it is that you can handle at any one point in time. That's the goal. And yeah, you'll feel a little bit uncomfortable first because you're like, oh, there's so many buyers here. I need to make sure that, they're not stealing anything and that I'm able to talk to all of them. So that's why it benefits you to have other people there. And if it gets to the point where you've got more people than you're able to even talk to, that's where you want to talk to some of the other realtors in your office and say, hey, look, I'm holding an open house this weekend. I'm the open house expert. They should know you're the open house expert if they see what you do. And maybe show some pictures of previous open houses. Oh yeah, look at all these people that I've had here. Something like that. You can say, hey, look, I'm looking for some other realtors that are in there. I only charge a 25% referral fee for any of the leads it is that I've brought in there. And if you end up closing their deal, that's you get the 75% commission, I get 25%. Or maybe they're not willing to take that much of a cut. Maybe, again, you can negotiate with this with the other agents in your office. But that way, you've got somebody in there to build relationships and handle these other leads that you've got coming in there. Remember, I've said this multiple times before. You should never be turning away business. You could refer away business, but don't turn away business. Don't turn away business, refer away business. That's the way to do it because, yeah, you're not making the whole amount of money, but you're collecting a small referral fee at 20%, 25% really isn't even that small. That's a quarter of the commission it is that you get for referring that lead. But you'll find that there's realtors out there that are starved for leads, that don't know how to do an open house, that are not willing to do an open house, that whatever the case may be, maybe they're new. Find those people that are willing and able and eager, especially the new agents. The new agents are great for this. They're willing, able, and eager to do whatever it takes to go make money, including pay out a 25% referral fee for the leads it is. But look, those are your leads that you brought in from your advertising, so you shouldn't even question doing this. And one final thing it is that I would advise for you to do is have some sort of sign-in at the front. And there's a couple ways you can go about this. You could do it for security purposes. That one, you're usually not likely to get accurate information on that sign-in sheet. What probably is the best way to do this is say, hey, we're raffling off a gift card for whatever, for Starbucks, for Target, for Bed Bath & Beyond, for Amazon, whatever it is. You're raffling off a gift card. Everyone that comes today, and this is maybe something you put in your video ahead of time to market this, to build some more exposure about this property. Hey, and we're also going to have a raffle giveaway for a $100 Amazon gift card or whatever that may be. And you might say, John, then I got to buy a $100 gift card and give that away. don't think of how much money it is that you have to spend. Think of what potential that is. By offering a $100 gift card, you're going to be amazed by the amount of people it is that actually show up for this open house because they want that $100 gift card. And then you're also going to get accurate sign-ins of people coming in because they want to have their accurate contact information, so if they win the gift card, you know how to get a hold of them. So you see now how when they're signing in, they're going to give you their real information and not some made-up name or number or anything like that when they're signing into the property. So there's so many tricks and so many ways to really make the open houses a gold mine. But look, one of the most important things is making sure you've got the appropriate exposure so you're getting the most amount of people through the doors as possible. So whenever you're holding open houses, constantly think of how it is that you could get more people showing up at the open house. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Look, it's Friday. We've got Saturday tomorrow. It's probably too late to kind of have this master planned open house. But look, even if you get out there and go hold an open house tomorrow or maybe on Sunday, just to kind of, test the waters. Maybe you haven't done an open house in a while. Maybe you've never done an open house, period. Try it out. Start to get a feel for it. Start to plan out some things. Find out, put something on the calendar for next week and start marketing it today for this open house so you can maximize the exposure. And look, continue perfecting this and be perseverant. Your first couple open houses are probably going to go terribly. You probably get low traffic. You'll probably get people that will be frustrated with you. Maybe you're not coming off correctly and people don't want to give you their contact information. Look, it's a learning process. So you've got to get yourself comfortable in there so you're confident, so you come across professionally, and that you're the open house expert. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Use this information, put it to work. Look, if you're trying to get your real estate license, if you like what you've been hearing, if you think it might be exciting to hold an open house and be able to potentially make thousands of dollars off of a couple hours of holding an open house, that's completely possible. Give us a call. We can help you get your real estate license. That's the first step. You can't do anything of this stuff legally without having a real estate license, so give us a call. That's where we're here to help you with that. Phone number is 813-928-0106. Check us out online at tampaschool.com or tampaschool.com/success, where you'll find our Success Center, and you'll find this recording of this episode as well as all the previous episodes of State of Real Estate, as well as Ask the Instructor and all of our videos and articles and everything it is that we have to help you be successful. You're going to be surprised with the information you find on there because it's very useful. We want it to be good information because we want you guys to think highly of us at Tampa School of Real Estate. So check that out, tampaschool.com/success. Again, you've got questions, give us a call. But that's all the time we've got for today. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next week.
Have you seen what's going on in Tampa?
If you're looking to get in on the real estate action that's going on in Tampa right now, we're who you need to talk to. We can help you get your real estate license, start your real estate career. We're here to assist you for the life of your real estate career. Give us a call. Phone number is 813-928-0106, or check us out online at tampaschool.com.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You're watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate.